Hey, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2020 remake of the Universal cult classic property that it is, The Invisible Man. I'm going to take these off. They're a little smudged. I got to clean them. So, Leigh Whannell is the director of this film. Elizabeth Moss stars in it. Oliver, I forget his name. He's in the House of Haunting of Hill House. He's in What's Your Number? It's the first movie I saw him in. He's in a bunch of other stuff, but he plays. Wow, I can't remember the scientist husband's name. So they changed the story of this a lot. Elizabeth Moss's character is playing a PTSD-driven wife that her husband wants to control her entire life, played by Oliver Adrian. Oliver's character's name is Adrian. So Adrian is the scientist. He's like big in the tech community, and like, he fakes his death. It's basically, you see it in the trailer, right? Like, you see that somehow he becomes invisible, and like he's tormenting her and trying to convince her that she's going crazy and things like that, so she doesn't inherit his money, something to that extent, right? And then there's twists, and then there's turns, and then it turns out, he made a suit that is all these different cameras all over the place. It's not actually a liquid he drank to make himself invisible. He is using like a camera to like send the picture back and forth. But somehow he hoodwinks his brother into it, and then his brother winds up getting killed because of it, and then like they were faking his kidnapping, and Elizabeth winds up, putting the suit on at some point, and winds up, acting her revenge and killing him, Adrian, because like he killed her sister, making her think she did it. It's a whole back and forth of who killed who when, and all these twists and turns. And the scariest part of the entire movie is when she throws the paint and it like kind of covers him in the attic, and he falls down, and they fight. But like, the movie's over 2 hours long. It could have easily been an hour and a half. Elizabeth did a fantastic job. I know I talked about this in the last review. Elizabeth Moss is a goddess amongst us mere mortals, right? We haven't really talked about her a lot. We've only talked about her in the last review for Code 8, and she wasn't even in the movie, but I used her as an example of how believable she is with crying. When she was in Mad Men, she was incredible. She's in some show on Hulu right now, or Amazon, or I don't remember. But she is an incredible actress. She deserves all the accolades because she presents a self of realism to the authenticity, bringing a character to life. The crying, the gasping, that kind of stuff. She's believable. So her fear was very much so represented in this particular movie. I didn't agree with the plot points. I didn't agree with how they changed it, but I thought Leigh did a good job with the modernization of it. I just don't see it holding up years from now. And it's unfortunate because Leigh Whannell does incredible work. He and James Wan started out getting recognition with the Saw franchise way back in the day. He did Dead Silence, which gets no credit, which is an incredibly creepy and disturbing puppet movie that it is. He's done the Insidious films. He's done a bunch of other work on a bunch of other projects, but he did Upgrade. We just talked about that in the last movie as well. And I talked about a lot of Leigh Whannell and Elizabeth Moss in the Code 8 review, and they had absolutely nothing to do with Code 8, which I find funny, so good for them for being in my mind. I'm a big fan of Leigh Whannell. I can't praise him enough when it comes to those horror films, when it comes to Upgrade, which I thought was just something I've never seen before. I thought it was so interesting. But I didn't like this movie of his, and that's okay. I don't need to like every single movie that every single artist creates, right? It's weird if I was to like every single thing. I've discussed numerous times how awesome Zac Efron is, right? There are movies of his that I cannot watch because of how stupid they are. And that's okay. You can still appreciate an artist and their craft. You don't have to like every single thing they do. It'd be weird. It'd be very weird if you did. So, did you guys see Invisible Man? Do you agree with me that the only scary part in that entire movie was when she threw the paint on him? Was it? And to be honest, it's a Leigh Whannell film. So he knows how to up that like horror sound of like the that like weird vibrating noise that behind you kind of a thing. So like, I think that's what amped the fear, but that's the point of it. It's a horror movie. It's a drama, horror, sci-fi, and thriller movie. There's a lot of subjects and categories for this movie. So, yeah. Did you guys see Invisible Man? What did you think of the 2020 remake of Invisible Man? Meh. 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 That's it. That's all I got. Mucho mahalo.